So they can get back on defense. This is one of the few opportunities. Siakam, he's really special in open court.
More from game 2 now. Marc Gasol finding a cutting Norman Powell for the slam.
The rare Norman Powell sighting in this series. He played bigger minutes in this game, much bigger minutes in this game than he did in game 1. Didn't have a huge impact, but this was a big play for them.
He could still play a huge part the rest of the series, especially we don't know how healthy Clay's going to be.
Here we go. Check it out. Shaun Livingston to a wide open Iggy for the game-sealing 3.
Steve Kerr, I wish we could read his mind when he sees this developing. Don't, yes! We win.
I knew it was going to work out that way.
I mean, I don't think there's any coach in America that would say you take that shot in that spot, but if you make it, it don't matter. Huge play by Iggy. Huge play.
All right, let's shake it up a bit. A little MLS soccer. Zlatan Ibrahimovic scoring on an insane bicycle kick for the Galaxy up against the Revolution.
Oh, a little 37-year-old in the box bicycle kick, see?
Hardest way to finish is a bicycle kick. The timing of it, also a dangerous play. Typically, you can get called from the ref for a boot up close to his head. That's what they call cleats.
That was a better game than the bigger soccer game this weekend. Champions Cup final. That was a bore.
All right, back to last night's game. Tough loss for the Toronto Raptors. They led at halftime, but struggled in the third quarter as the Warriors scored the first 18 points of the second half. Took the Raptors nearly 6 minutes into the quarter to finally score. This was their first loss since Game 2 of the Milwaukee Bucks series, snapping a 5-game win streak. So as the series heads to Oakland now for Game 3, Kawhi says he knows it's only going to get more difficult moving forward.
Finals is not going to be easy. The only thing that matters is the four wins. Once you get it, 2 wins, 3 wins, it does not matter. Just take one game at a time and, just play through the adversity.
All right, CC, what went wrong for the Raptors last night?
Well, a number of things went wrong. Golden State, which I believe they kind of lucked into this because of injuries. When you get Looney, who gets hurt, their backup center, who's probably played more minutes than any other center that they have, that Steve Kerr decides that I'm going to go Boogie Cousins and Bogut, which made their lineup a lot bigger, and it hurt Toronto as their bigs played a lot better than Toronto's bigs. In that third quarter where they couldn't hit a shot, I can understand. You talk about the crowd. The coach at that point had an opportunity, to be able to call a timeout. I thought he missed an opportunity to be able to stop a rally there, but it's about shooting the basketball. We can go up and down the lineup. Oh, this guy got hurt. This guy get this. They didn't shoot the basketball. 37% from field goal percentage, 28 from 3. You are not going to beat Golden State when they beat you by 10 percentage points in both categories. So we can talk about a lot of the other things. They took care of the ball enough. They rebounded the ball. They got on the fast break just enough, not as much as game number 1, probably 6 points less than game number 1. But if you don't shoot the basketball against the Warriors, because you'd have to be happy after 2 games, keeping them to 109 game number 1, 109 in game number 2. Shooting the basketball, to me, was the biggest reason why they lose game number 2.
And I mean, you can look at it as the Raptors offense fouled them or the Warriors defense played much better. It's honestly probably a combination of both because, as C just mentioned, Golden State has scored the exact same amount of points in each game. The difference is the Raptors offense in that second half went through 2 impossible droughts. They went through the drought to start the third quarter, which was 6+ minutes without a point, and the Warriors went on the longest run in NBA Finals history, or at least since the merger, an 18-0 run, a 20-0 run if you extended the very end of the first half. And then there was another drought for Toronto from around 5 minutes left until that Danny Green 3. Nobody hit a shot on either side. Toronto had executed this box-and-1 defense once Clay went out that clearly was giving Golden State trouble, and they had opportunity after opportunity to make an 8-point game a 5-point game, to make a 7-point game a 4-point game, and they just couldn't capitalize. It wasn't until there was a minute left when they got some free throws. Steph gets just an indefensible technical by him that you have to know not in that situation. And then they get a couple offensive rebounds, lead to the Danny Green 3, that all of a sudden it's a 2-point game. But Golden State, after taking control the entire second half, it felt like they were teetering. If Toronto could just hit a few of those shots. If Kawhi,
yes,
as great as he's been in this playoff run, came in the fourth quarter, and he's 1 of 6 from the field in the fourth quarter. If he makes some shots, if Van Vliet hits one of his key threes, we might be talking about something different. The Warriors' defense had something to do with that. The Raptors missing shots had something to do with that.
I'll say the Warriors' defense was a little more engaged, but they had nothing to do with those wide open shots they missed. On that 18-0 run, that was not defense. They had Nick Nurse, I can guarantee you, if you tell him we're going to get the same shots in game 3, 4, and 5, they'll sign up for it. They won't practice, they won't do anything. We will take the same opportunities shooting the basketball as bad as they did and still having a chance at the end. That part right there was hard to believe.
Nick Nurse actually said after the game, we just stopped being physical during that 18-0 run. We stopped pressing the way we were supposed to. But it seems like with Toronto's role players, either they all show up or they don't show up. After Siakam's great game 1, didn't have a great game 2, Kyle Lowry fouling out, you can't leave it all up to Kawhi Leonard to have to, I mean, he did put up 34 points, but to carry this team to victory.
Yeah, Siakam, you have a legitimate excuse. And Draymond Green said in the press conference, game number 1, it's my responsibility to slow him down. I will do that in game number 2. Didn't let him get out on the fast break. So who's going to be their number 2 scorer? Van Vliet, he's going to be the number 2 scorer. Kyle Lowry, to me, has been very disappointing. Not only in this game, but the last 3 games, 16 fouls. Fouled out in this game. So what people don't realize is when you accumulate all these fouls, not only do you move them closer to the bonus, they're a great free throw shooting team, but it affects how you play defense. It affects now how your teammates have to play defense because you're closer to the bonus. So for me, as smart as he is as a player, he has not played smart in the last 3 games. 6 fouls in this game, 5 fouls, which limited him in game number 1, where he only scored 7 points. And in the last game against Milwaukee, he had 5 fouls in that game, which hurt their defense. Kyle Lowry's got to be better than that for the Raptors if they're going to win this series.
And on the play Kyle Lowry fouled out on, he's 90 feet from the basket trying to steal it from Boogie Cousins.
One of many dumb fouls that he's made in this playoff run.
Right. I mean, that's a bad foul if you have 1 foul. You can't when you know you have 5 fouls. And then Lowry thought he got him clean, but that's the type of play when you come violently slapping down. That's the type of play that it's very rare. You have to get it perfectly clean right in front of the ref. But the other element to it is one of the reasons the Raptors are getting these open shots is the Warriors continue to sell out on Kawhi. And it is working. Kawhi has been brilliant from the free throw line. He's 26 of 28 from the free throw line. In this series, he has 26 points from the free throw line and 27 points from the field. He's made 13 field goals of 34 attempts in this series. So even though 34 points last night, I think the Warriors were probably pretty satisfied with what they did on Kawhi, and they're going to force the other Raptors to hit shots. Everyone's going to focus on that 18-0 run. But once Clay went out, Clay went out and Kawhi checked in. There's 8 minutes left in the game. Toronto's down 7. If Toronto's offense engages or can start hitting shots at that moment, it's a different result. They had 2 droughts that cost them the